proxying for Chris today as events director, Callum for Will for tech, and Matt is here on behalf of ATS, which he directs himself. It's been a great few months for VATPAC. We've seen so many events go through, some major events as well, World Flight, an annual hoot, raising a lot of money for various charities around the world. We've seen all of you guys flying around, lots of controller and upgrades as well. People flying up and down the East Coast, and all throughout Australia, which is really encouraging to see. I also encourage you to use this time to ask questions. We put out all this information about what we're doing on the newsletters as well, but also use this time to interact with us and reach out and find out how we can help you make VATPAC a better place. Thanks, Blair.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Clem. We'll move on to our next member, which is Rowan, proxying in for Chris for events.
Yeah, g'day. So been a great year on the events front. Possibly some of the most flown ones and just general activity we've seen. Obviously, the last World Flight showed that it was great. The work we did as well with the ATS to make sure we could handle the level of traffic was very good. As well, since the last time we had a town hall, Light Up Tasmania as well. It wasn't as popular, but still some good traffic. We're in the progress of building our calendar for the next year. The event survey taking a lot of direction from that. And that survey is still open for another few days. So if you haven't filled it out, please do. This is your opportunity to let us know what you guys want. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thanks, Ryan. I know milk runs especially have been quite busy recently. I think we're back on my bat sim for that, but there was a period where just the amount of traffic coming on milk runs was just so overwhelming. But it's good to see everyone getting around some participation. So unfortunately, Will couldn't join us tonight or this afternoon. So Callum's going to be his proxy. So Callum, over to you.
G'day everyone. From the IT space, really two main things to share information on. Throughout the year, there's been a significant amount of progress made on the events website, which also includes updates to a few of the back-end systems that the staff will use and the CMS. Unfortunately, due to personal commitments of the staff members involved in that development, we're still experiencing delays. That's the main reason, I guess, it hasn't been released yet. The actual design and functionality is pretty much done. Above 80% of it's done, and it has been demoed internally to staff, and it's begun a bit of testing by the staff team as well. The main thing that waits on there is reviewing all of the code and ensuring, I guess, it's all secure and good to go before it launches. There isn't a timeline at the moment, but it is a key priority for the for the IT department. So we do expect some more progress and some more information on that over the new year. The department also welcomed 3 new volunteers to assist in getting through a backlog of tasks. I know Will's gone through and created a pretty comprehensive list of jobs that need to be done, which really helps, I think, when he's able to bring the team on board. So at the moment, just due to his time, he's still working through onboarding the new volunteers, and once that's done, we should start seeing some more development on a few of the ongoing tasks that the IT department has. I think they're up to about a list of 23 items at the moment that Will's working through. So continued progress. Goal over the next year is to divide responsibilities for each part of the tech team to ensure, I guess, the platform as a whole is kept up to date. And yeah, it's ensuring that everything keeps serving the needs of the division. So yeah, I think a lot of development to come still from the IT department.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. Just looking at the events sort of page now, we've had over 31,000 lines of code written into that pull request and 299 commits. So it's quite a big project, probably a lot bigger than some people would think. And it sort of brings together all of the systems into one spot. So, off your user profile, you'll be able to access your rostered information, see the events that you're rostered in, other things like integrating roster infringements into one system. So it's a big job. That's why it's taken a bit longer than maybe we had hoped, but it's getting there, and hopefully next year we'll have that coming out. Finally, over to Matt to talk about ATS.
Hey everyone, it's as always been a busy couple of months for ATS. I'll give you a bit of a run through of some of the things that we've recently completed, and then I'll go through some of the things that we're looking at the moment. We've been trying to bring out some news articles as we get a few things done, just to keep the community in the loop of what the changes are being made and where our effort is being directed to. The biggest thing that's come out this quarter, or I guess this third, is the pilot procedures site. So there's been a heap of work that's been put into that, and the idea has been that we've obviously got the ATC SOPs, and now we've got the equivalent site for pilots handling both. We're looking at both the fundamental sort of core skills, so everything from flight planning through to radio phraseology, reading the weather, everything in between, but also location-specific items that help to marry up with the SOPs. For any pilots who are watching, if you're not aware of it, just check the VATPAC website. We've got a link sitting right there. We've actually redesigned some of the VATPAC website menu structure as well to make it a bit easier to find some of these tools. But it's a really good resource. It is still fairly new, so if you have any feedback at all for it, we're encouraging everyone to submit feedback through the help desk. We want to make sure that the tools and the resources we're providing are appropriate for the community, and that we're hitting the mark in terms of the level of detail, the level of complexity. So any feedback we'd welcome through the help desk. On the same line, the SOPs have seen a lot of love lately. We've had a lot of effort put into some of the positions that aren't in Australia, but our jurisdiction. So the Pacific positions, PNG, the SOPs there have been essentially rewritten, and we're extremely grateful to the community members and the staff members who have put a lot of effort into that work. We've essentially refreshed all of the flow SOPs. We've hand created flow data for, I think it's something like 12 or 14 airports around Australia. We've developed a flow calculator that can be used on the network to quickly work out some landing times. So a lot of effort gone into that as well. And then we've also standardized every page on the SOP so that it's easier to find information, so that all aerodrome pages or all en route pages all generally look the same, and you know where to go to find information that you're after. We've conducted a review of the Queensland en route positions. The result of that was the Keppel primary sector being introduced. It was previously just a child sector, and a few minor changes made to Kennedy as well. So if you haven't controlled up that way in a little while, just check out the SOPs. It's obviously all documented there. The same thing's been done through some of the New Caledonia and Nandi FIR sectors there as well. So we've just been trying to make sure that the positions on VATSIM are aligned with the real world sectors, but also catering for the limitations that we see on the network. The ATS policy review was conducted, and that's been completed. So the policy update has been live now for, I think it's probably about 6 months. The aim of that review was to give greater flexibility to controllers, primarily en route controllers. We're trying not to limit people. We want to encourage people to open up different positions, provide a service to pilots in areas that they might not have been able to before, and extend in ways that we're not putting barriers in place. We're trying to remove the barriers and make it easier for people to do what they want to do on the network. There's been a lot of plugin development. The VATPAC plugins now included as part of the profile. That's automating the en route and the TMA sector extension comments, which makes it a lot easier when you want to quickly pick up a neighbouring sector. And then there's been a lot of work put into tower controlling recently as well. So you may have noticed that the ground radar tags have changed. That's to try and minimize clutter, provide more useful information, and in some ways as well align it better with the real world. We've obviously introduced AusStrips as a primary method of controlling aerodrome positions now as far as strip management goes. That's replicating the digital strip system that that Air Services use. And there's a few other minor changes that have happened there as well. So that's everything that we've done over the last couple of months. As far as what we're currently doing, I'll try and keep this a little bit shorter, but we're in the final processes, or the final stage, sorry, of finalising our ATS standards department and the workflow being used there. It's just to make sure we've got a consistent framework that we can use to ensure compliance with the VATSIM GCAT policy as well as our own ATS policy. And it's a VATSIM requirement that we do this, so that's why this is obviously being conducted. The differences package for VATPAC and VATNZ controllers continues. There's a heap of work. I think I said this last time. I've probably said it for the last couple of times now, but there's a heap of work that is being put into this, essentially comparing every single page on every ATC Academy course with the equivalent in New Zealand and working out exactly what's different. Work is continuing with that. In the background, the VATPAC and VATNZ policy discussions are ongoing. So we're hoping that as we progress into the new year, we can have something to show for all of that, and you can see all the hard work that's been put in there. I mentioned the flow SOPs. As part of that, we're completing the flow endorsement course. So obviously we need the SOPs, we need Academy content. We've got a VATSIS plugin, like a native plugin that's in the final stages of development. We've already seen that being used during a couple of events. And the course content is actually being written by real controllers. So we've got some really good content going into there. We're in the stages at the moment of conducting a review of some of the TMA sectors, particularly Pearce, Sydney and Melbourne. We just want to make sure that the structure of those sectors is efficient and helps controllers conduct whatever they're doing in an easy and efficient way. And we're also producing some new airspace diagrams to communicate that effectively. You would have seen a couple of new videos come through. There's a lot of work now going into producing more relevant content in a way that's easier for the community to understand. And we've been doing videos for a while, but we know that that is a preferred method for a lot of people. So we're trying to match the written SOPs with video content as well where possible. And Milk Run was previously discussed briefly there, but we've, from an ATS perspective, been trying to look at the best way to ensure the event is enjoyable without being too demanding and draining of the controllers so that we can keep everything at a consistent level. I'll just quickly wrap up. I know I've taken a lot of your time. Everyone wants to know about ATC training. Everything's fairly consistent at the moment. We've been publishing the estimated wait times in the queue on the website for the last probably year, I think. And they're still sitting fairly consistent at the moment. It's just over 4 months is the wait. But as we move into the Christmas and New Year period, we take our annual break in the training department. So we do expect the wait times over sort of Q1 next year to expand based on the lower throughput over Christmas. I think that's everything. I won't take up any more of your time. So that's everything for me.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Just from a membership point of view, Matt sort of touched on videos, and Alexander B is doing some excellent work on the video front, and we're hoping to have some more start to trickle out over Q1 of 2025. We received a lot of good feedback from the videos that we produced this year, so hopefully we'll have some more of those coming soon. So we'll start off with the questions that we've received to me, and then we'll open up to the rest of everyone else. So if you haven't already, to ask a question, just use the raise hand feature on Discord stages. So the first question I assume would be directed to Clem, and it asks, just regarding the VATSIM CTAF trials, now that that has ended, what's VATPAC's position going forward with this?
So we wanted to participate in the trial very early on, but to give the bit of context for everyone, we cover so many different aerodromes and the time that would take to manually enter the data, which every other participating region has done, would take months. So we have requested for an API, and the API is still in development. Despite regular updates, we haven't been able to have much success coordinating with the VATSIM team on this, themselves being extremely busy. I do see it's like the very tail end of it. And we are still hoping to implement the CTAF procedures into our region. When or if this will occur, I can't give an actual time, but it's something that we as VATPAC would still like to implement based on the member feedback that we did ages ago. There was an overwhelming response in support of CTAF, so it's still something we're trying to push for, even though the trial has ended.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Thanks, Clem. All right. So moving on to the next question. Kirk, you can come up to speak. There we go.
Thanks, Blair. I had two questions. The first one just got asked. The second question was in regards to WorldFlight. So this year we trialled the slots out of Sydney. I'm just wondering what the feedback was that with that and how it was received from the pilot's point of view and the controller's point of view.
Yeah, I'll give a go answering it. So we introduced slots purely for the fact that we had 2 runways going into 1 runway at Auckland. So obviously we can send out of Sydney, we can send something like 60 departures an hour realistically, but Auckland was only capable of receiving 30. We tried our best to get them to up that, a bit of world flight procedures. They weren't able. So yeah, we had to introduce SOPs. We are aware of the feedback and the fact that everyone's a little bit disappointed they weren't able to do that leg. So again, if we need to do this in the future, we're kind of aware of now the sort of things we need to be thinking about with that in terms of how we make them accessible and easier for people to book and not lock so many people out.
Yeah, thanks, mate. So just basically, I'm just wondering what the general consensus of the feedback was. Was it negative, positive? Which way did it lean? Were pilots receptive of it or not receptive of it? Is it something that we would potentially do again?
I personally can't remember too much of what it was, but again, yes, it was more geared negatively because obviously we're locking a lot of people out, and those people that do get locked out, you'd feel pretty stuffed.
I would note that the amount of traffic that was on the ground this year was fairly similar to previous years, maybe slightly less. But the delay time for aircraft this year was significantly less than it has been in previous years. I think the max delay was about 60 minutes. Does that sound right, Rowan?
Yeah, very much, yeah.
Whereas previous years we've had people waiting 2 hours on the ground.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, mate.
Awesome. Thanks, Kirk. Alrighty. Next question. Go ahead when you're ready.
Good day, everybody. I just had one little question. My mates who are women, they join the stuff full time, but they can't really come in and see what we're all about. They're not really appealed or not really feeling welcome. So my question to you guys is, what steps can VATPAC take to create a more welcoming and appealing environment so that more women feel encouraged to join and participate?
Clem, I reckon that's yours, mate.
Yeah, sure. Beautiful. VATPAC is open to men and women. There's no discrimination with that whatsoever. Aviation is predominantly a male industry, and therefore any supporting organizations such as VATPAC will also follow that trend. However, we are seeing a huge uptake in women in the industry. Many parts are becoming air traffic controllers, pilots, and that's a really great thing. So your friend, please invite them along to VATPAC. It'll be really exciting to have them come along.
Yep, all right. Well, thank you guys.
Awesome, thank you. So I just got another question from a message. It goes, just wondering regarding how rostering for Milk Run Monday works. Is it a first come, first serve basis? Is it who's controlled the most, or is it based off seniority? What's the go regarding that for controllers?
Yeah, there's a lot of first come, first serve, but we do try to share it around as much as possible. Obviously, with the current events site, it's a bit event by event, so we don't have that sort of follow on where there's a lot of like manual tracking needing to be done. With the new event site, though, that's going to become a lot easier. So we'll have a lot more access to, okay, so and so did Sydney Tower last week for 4 hours, so someone else can do it this week. They can, obviously, if there's more applications, we'll favour someone who didn't get to do that. Yeah, a lot of first come, first serve, and we try and remember who's done what and switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, no, certainly. And the new events website's excellent for stuff. You know, we can see flags based off when controllers got given their endorsements for each position, whether they're new to VATPAC and things like that. So, you know, we don't leave a brand new S2 controller on Melbourne Tower at the busiest period of world flight, and make the whole sort of experience a little bit more consistent. So, James, you're all good to go for the next question.
Hey boys. Hey, so my question is coming into the new year, like for say those beginner pilots that have like say been flying in say career mode on 24 or just been flying around and want to start doing V pilot, will ATC be understanding that they're new and say if they're not doing say milk run but just flying in general, would they be willing enough to want to make it easier for the pilots to do their calls, like their readbacks? Like, say if they want to not do it by PDC, but just like talk slowly and understand that they're new to the whole ATC side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. That's not just something that's limited to the new year, but that's just the way that we generally try to operate. And, you know, we provide training to controllers in both the core competencies of controlling, but also the fact that as a controller, you are often leading a pilot's education or furthering that as they go. So we can't control how every controller acts, but we would like to think the controllers are understanding that, you know, controllers themselves are learning, pilots themselves are learning, VATSIM is a learning network. In terms of pilot competency, we completely understand that the vast majority of the pilots on the network are not real world pilots. The same standard is not expected of them, and pilots should not be afraid to jump on and have a go. They just need to be aware of their obligations under various policies, and mainly the VATSIM Code of Conduct. And shameless plug, but the pilot procedure side is a great place to start because it has all this there for them as well. So if there's anyone, I don't know if you're in this boat, but if anyone else listening is in this boat and they want to get started, they're a little bit scared, it's a bit daunting, head to pilot procedures. There's literally a page called Getting Started, and it's going to walk you through everything. But we have semi-regular events for new pilots and new controllers as well to come along and just have a crack. Don't have to get everything right. You know, it's a good place to learn. But at the same time as well, for any pilot, if you tell a controller, I'm new, but I'm having a go, I would expect the controller to be pretty understanding of that. So as long as you're competent enough to fly your aircraft, you know the basics of radio communication, all that sort of thing, which again, pilot procedures will help you get started with, then absolutely jump in, have a crack. And if in doubt, just tell the controller. It's the same in the real world, to be honest. If you're unsure about an instruction, if you don't understand what the controller's saying, if you misheard them, you just say again. And if you don't get it the second time, you say, I'm sorry, I don't understand. Could you rephrase it? It's no different on the network as well.
Easy. Thank you.
Right, we'll go on to the next question.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Get it.
It's got just a couple of questions. This one for events. I'd just like to see if like next year events to see more like the Western airports have been included, like a lot, like because I do see not like for example Adelaide and then Perth and that and northern Western Australia not always are always included in every event. Like I like to see more of those airports included for next year's event for something different.
Yeah. Yeah, we do look at that regularly. Again, the event survey is still open. You can chuck in a response there for airports. But a lot of the problems with Perth and let's say Darwin, for example, they're often like 2 or 3 hour flights. A lot of people are only kind of interested in that 1 hour, 2 hour range. And then again, if we utilize some of the smaller ones, like let's say Kalgoorlie, Karratha, Broome, again, there's just those airports don't necessarily have the capacity. So as much as we do like to try and spread it out, yeah, we're kind of limited by literally where they are, unfortunately.
Yeah, all good. A bit understandable there, yeah. And that sort of, yeah, answers my question, the first one. The second one's more for like controlling, like for controller side of things. Like just how to handle when people are be idiots on the network. And I've had that experience quite a few times now myself as a solo doors tower and that. And I've had experience of people idiots on the network just messing around with me and that, born in stupid aircraft, and just need to want help how to sort of resolve those sorts of problems without myself getting into trouble, like and others as well. Those sort of scenarios, those troublemakers.
Yeah, it's a very simple situation actually, and it's somewhat common, but that's what the VATSIM supervisor division is there for. So if you have any trouble at all with a pilot or a controller, your first port of call, beyond reasonable communication attempts, is to escalate that to the supervisors. There's generally a couple online that sort of scatter themselves around the world, and they'll wait for a message to come through and then come and assist you. Occasionally, there's no one online, but for anything that would be deemed that way, the best thing to do is just we call it walloping them. I'm sure that you would have been informed about that as part of your training. It's in the ATC Academy otherwise, but in VATSIM you can, in VATSIS, you can request a supervisor, just write a message in there and one will come and give you a hand. And it just comes back to the code of conduct that I mentioned before. All network users, so pilots and controllers, are required to abide by the code of conduct. And if you fail to do so, then it should be escalated to a supervisor, and they're the right people to intervene, make an assessment on the situation, and see where it should go from there. And it actually looks like Kirk's just put a message in, which is very helpful, that all wallops are recorded, even if a supervisor's not online. So there's no harm in doing so if you think there's a genuine need to escalate that for someone to have a look at. Does that help, Kyron?
Yeah, half and half, I suppose. Yeah. Like I've had my instructor, and that I was controlling, and then lots of aircraft were doing circuits and stuff at one point, and I logged off, and I struggled to cope with that, and I think maybe logging off was the best way sometimes.
Okay, so in that case, it sounds like it's not necessarily a behavioural thing, but more just unusual requests. As a controller, you've got to manage your own workload, so you're within your rights to deny unreasonable requests. Again, that's part of the workload management that you would have been sort of trained to do. But yeah, it sort of comes down to your own personal capacity and knowing where your limit is. So there's nothing wrong with that sort of course of action, but a good self-awareness of how you're operating compared to your sort of workload capacity is always good to have.
Yep, that sort of covers it. Yeah, that's all from me. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Kieran. Alrighty, Nick Falcione.
G'day, guys. Matt, this is directed to Matt. Just through my years of controlling, one of the things, and I'm not sure if VATPAC's able to do this, I continually, and especially during a busy period, and I've also, when I've been observing, the number of pilots will step away and they'll ask to step away for 10 minutes. Is there a way of like messaging or something that can be devised where they can just sort of hit a button and you know that they're away from the flight deck?
It might be a bit above my pay grade, but I mean, in VATSIS, we've got sort of the equivalent with the request break function. I'm not sure whether there's something similar in the pilot clients. I don't think there is from memory, but that might be something that would have to go a little bit higher in terms of, you know, that's a function that would probably have to be coded into those applications. I think it can be a little bit frustrating sometimes when pilots take a break, but at the same time, we're understanding that we're all just people sitting in front of a computer. Life happens. Sometimes you need to get up, you know, you put it on autopilot and walk away. So it's understandable. The current system, as you mentioned, obviously, that a pilot will generally request it. The controller will assess whether there's a handoff coming up or anything like that, and then issue it where possible. I guess that in itself is quite a good system in that the controller has a bit of say in it rather than the pilot just disappearing. But from my knowledge, there's nothing at the moment in a pilot client where they could just push a button to reflect that they're away from the keyboard.
Okay, all right, no worries, thanks.
Thanks, Nick. So we've just got a question from the message. And it's going, what are we doing to increase different types of flying as the network is very commonly based off commercial aircrafts? That's probably an events question.
Yeah, sure. I guess obviously we do publish and promote our like big airliner IFR events a lot more because obviously that's what majority of people want. But yeah, as David has just mentioned, we do run VFR Ops events twice weekly. They are under as Discord events and still on the forums. As we move into the new event site, they'll be published there as well. So yeah, twice weekly we do run VFR events. Yeah, get involved.
And can I add that you'll be sick of me saying this, but pilot procedures, we've got heaps of stuff on VFR, we've got stuff on formation flying, there's all sorts of stuff on there. So if you want to do something unusual, or I guess VFR is not particularly unusual, but go and have a read and see if there's anything that takes your fancy there as well, because you'll probably develop some new skills as part of that as well.
Thank you. Just looks like we've got one last question to go with the ones that we've been asked so far. Matt, this is a question for you. So it's unclear in the pilot SOPs on what frequencies are to be used for CTAFs when participating, particularly in VFR flights. So should we be using CTAFs as published in tools such as Navigraph or only using 122.8? And what is the difference, I guess, regarding the CTAF CTAF frequency used in the CTAF events? So, you know, the Wednesday events versus, I guess, general flying on the network.
Yeah, because we're not part of the CTAF trial, we're still bound by the existing rules for all of this. And it's on the VATSIM page in pilot procedures, there's a single line that just says the frequency is 122.8. So They've changed it's no longer Unicom. It's now referred to as advisory, but for us, the frequency hasn't changed. Everything should be 122.8. There's a code of conduct requirement to monitor that frequency at various points, which I think, if I paraphrase, is generally anytime you're not on an air traffic controller's frequency. From what I understand, and maybe events can correct me, but the CTAF frequency that's used during some of the VFR events is in addition to the advisory frequency, and it's just to better replicate the operation that they're conducting, as well as not overloading everyone else listening on 122.8. But from my understanding and the documentation that we produce, it's 122.8.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Matt. Alrighty, we got just a few more questions to go. So all good to go with your question?
Yeah, my question's for Julie Bishop over there about the technology side of this whole CTAF trial, because I was just sort of wondering, since we need to be collecting, what discrete CTAF frequency or whether multicom is used at each aerodrome and how that can be collected efficiently for all the aerodromes we have in Australia.
I can take this one, Callum. So
Yeah.
we have the data. We have an entire database of every position, the actual location of that position, the name of it, everything related to every single position on VATSIM, drawn from real world data, which is what we're meant to implement and import. The issue that we have now is the entry of all this data into VATSIM is like thousands of lines of data, and it's just it's unfeasible to do this manually. We did the math; it would take years. It's not the collection of data; it's the importing the data we're stuck with at the moment. So until that happens, we're stuck with just following the code of conduct and using 122.8 as the advisory frequency. If and when we implement CTAF, there'll be solid communication about it, and you will be made aware of that as a link to the previous question.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Hello from Australia's East Island. Hello, everyone can hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Sorry, I thought I pressed the wrong button. I just wanted a couple of minutes just to say something to you all. And I'm going to take a deep breath so I don't cry. Some of you know 4 years ago, I had a infarct. The neurosurgeon said to me, I'm living, can't kill weed. September, I've had the return some really hideous issues. Not being able to move my right side, not being able to see, not talk. So I've been dealing with some interesting things. And funnily enough, hospital visit has been on a Tuesday. So Milk Run Monday has been a bunch of hours of absolute happiness blasting with you guys up and down between Melbourne and Sydney. So I just wanted a quick opportunity to say thank you for the incredible thing that you guys all do. It is the greatest event I've ever experienced, coming up 30 years flying in TC Online. This coming Tuesday, I'm having brain surgery. I'm going to drill a hole in my skull, down a laser, and blast away where the tumour was. I've been told if successful, it's going to be the most amazing thing ever. If not, it'd be a bit crap. So I just want to say, love you. Thank you for having a platform that's enabled me to New Zealand 1984, 3 blast around and have just the most incredible Monday night. Just beautiful and has really helped me charge into all going well. Hopefully the last thing I'm going to have to deal with my broken brain. So I just wanted to say, love, thank you so very much. And here's to Milk Run Monday tomorrow, and an unbroken brain this week, and many more flights.
Thanks, Trace. That's really encouraging to hear, and we hope all things go well in the near future. And you know what? It's just a little bits of appreciation, just push us to work harder and do more things for the community. We thank you for participating. Keep showing up. I'm sure I says on behalf of the board, and not just the board, really, just all the members. We love you flying. We love hearing you on VATSIM. Keep posting your stories. Keep sharing your photos from FS. I don't even know what year, and we love seeing you around. So we hope to see more of that, Grayson. Take care.
Chep, thank you so much. So yeah, I mean, there was a little while there I wasn't able to, so I just flew. But yeah, posting has given me something else, another layer to my flying. I love doing it, and it means that I can post the crazy headwinds or crazy tailwinds or the crazy approach. So it's great. Thank you, Chep, for
Thank you, Grayson. And look, if you look in the chat there's many people, many members offering their support. So as a community, we love you. So we see you. We hope to keep seeing you around.
I'll that's beautiful. Thank you very much.
Do we have any other questions in our request to speak, Blair? I think Blair has some tech issues. I don't see any other questions or any raised hands.
There we go. Sorry, I'm back. I've
Are you good?
returned.
Perfect.
The beautiful Apple technology. Yeah, Grayson, look, it's always such a privilege having you come to the town halls with the booming radio voice. Always great to have your participation. We don't have any more questions via message, and we don't have any more hands raised in the town hall. So with that, it will be time to wrap up this town hall, the last for 2025. Look, going into this year, we said that we were going to make an effort to be more transparent, to provide more updates, to have more town halls. And I think over the course of this year, we've really tried our best to do that. 3 town halls. The board minutes are coming out with more detail. A lot of really big projects that have gone on. That pilot SOPs page is such a great addition. I've had quite a few messages come through during this town hall, not really asking questions directly, but more to sort of talking about, issues with phraseology, pilots from other countries not quite knowing what to say. And look, we've got a lot of videos coming out based off these pilot procedures. We're going to really push this because we want all of our pilots, especially, the ones that want to go do circuits at Melbourne on a Monday night, to read these pilot procedures and understand what they're actually asking to do. Because, with flights in 2024, the whole world of VFR traffic opening up, it's going to be really an exciting time moving into 2026. So unless anyone else here has anything to say, we'll finish up there. I think we had up to 86 people today. So that might be a record for a town hall. So thanks everybody for coming, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening.
And yeah, as we bring this town hall to a close, we are coming up to Christmas and New Year. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year to everyone. Spend some time with your family. As much as we love the network and flying, go spend some time with your loved ones and enjoy. We shall see you through the new year, and we'll come back next year and see you on the network. Thank you very much.
Alrighty, thanks everybody.